Hello and welcome to our dining and drink guide as experienced on our recent voyage aboard the Silversea Silver Spirit. On this voyage, we traveled from Lisbon, Portugal to Copenhagen, Denmark. There are 10 dining venues aboard the Silver Spirit if you count room service in your own room as one of those venues. Hopefully, for a little more perspective on the dining, I have created a rating guide that touches on things ranging from ambiance to the management of any particular venue. Please keep in mind that all judgments like this are subjective and they are my opinion and my opinion only, and are included here just to give you a better understanding of what we experienced while on the Silver Spirit. Questions, comments, and even critiques are welcome. Please leave in the comments below. Well, let's start on Deck 4, where 4 of the restaurants aboard the Silver Spirit are located, and we'll start with Atlantide. Now, some pronounce this Atlantide, and that's fine. I quizzed some of the people on board the Silver Spirit and could honestly get no confirmation that either version was correct. So let's just chalk it up to the potato, tomato sort of debate and go on. Officially, there is no quote-unquote main dining room on the Silver Spirit, but Atlantide is one of the more bigger restaurants aboard and is focused basically on surf and turf options. It is also, at least to us, the most consistent and comprehensive of all the restaurants aboard. To get a glimpse into that, check out the menu. The first page is always the chef's recommendation for the day and the sommelier's recommendation. And the chef's menu can also feature some deep cuts from the other specialty restaurants on board. Pages 2 and 3 feature the starters menu, the limited vegetarian menu, and the choices of the day for the surf and turf selections. And while the chef's recommendation menu always includes a dessert or two, there is a separate comprehensive dessert menu as well. And lastly, there is a menu that Silversea calls its classic light bites menu, a healthier option, if you will. Silversea is all-inclusive, and that means wine, beer, and liquor is all included. And above and beyond what is the recommended wine for the evening, there are many other choices available for the asking. Most of what's included falls in this range, although I have had up to $40 bottles of wine, but you have to keep searching until you find something you like. And like most restaurants in the world today, every dish is not perfect. However, on at least this voyage, they all seem to be very, very good. And the most amazing part is, none of it was overcooked. None of it was overspiced, and even more amazingly, none of it was underseasoned. And at least with Silversea, if you're hungry for more, just ask for more. And even meats that tend to get overcooked, like fish or the pork tenderloin, pork was just north of medium, as it should be. The crispy pork belly was crispy and done well. And even the thinly sliced Wiener Schnitzel was tender, succulent, and perfectly cooked. And the duck breast was served a perfect medium rare. And of course, desserts were there. This chestnut Mont Blanc caught my wife's attention, while this raspberry millefeuille, or Napoleon, had my name all over it. Or if nothing on the dessert menu catches your eye, you can go for ice cream. Or perhaps a cheese plate with a little cognac on the side. Now, the following rating is for dinner only, although we did go to breakfast once in Atlantide and lunch once as well. Each was excellent and probably deserves the same sort of rating. So how did we rate Atlantide on the Silver Spirit? Ambience will rate a 5. It was all warm woods and soft, comfy chairs, kind of reminiscent of upscale restaurants from around the world. Perceived cleanliness, a 5. Menu on this trip was extensive with very few repeats, and Executive Chef Grant and his team outdid themselves every night. So the menu is a solid 5, and the execution of that menu, the food, was darn near perfect. Drinks and drink service were good, and selection was a bit better, I think, than our last cruise on the Silver Muse. Wait staff was stellar, consistency was great, and management seemed to have a firm handle on things, and everybody was happy, or at least seemed happy, from top to bottom. Overall rating, well, basically a 5. Now I promise this is probably the longest review of any restaurant aboard the Silver Spirit, but in this case, praise is given where praise is due. Next up, also on deck 4, side by side with Atlantide, was Indochine. Now, Indochine is one of those restaurants that may have run its course. The menu is pretty much fixed. It changes very little throughout the voyage and has changed very little since we started cruising on Silversea. It is essentially an Asian fusion restaurant and has been replaced on newer ships with the Salt Kitchen, or Silversea's new Sea and Land Taste initiative. Just as with Atlantide, no reservations are required. It is open seating, and so we tried it. We tried it once. We tried it twice. We tried it several times because even though it was the same menu as we experienced on the Silver Muse, everything was better. So even with the limited menu, we went back to Indochine a total of around 6 times. So what was the difference on this ship? Well, again, I think it was Chef Grant and his team, and they seriously treated Indochine as one of their top-tier restaurants. So how did we rate it? Well, ambience is a solid 5. It is decorated a simple but elegant Asian motif that has a nice, serene feel to it. Perceived cleanliness, a 5. The menu, well, it's the same old menu, so we give it a 3. Food on this outing was quite good, and I'm going to give it a 4.5. Drinks and drink service was fine. The wait staff was once again stellar. And this time, everything was pretty consistent and managed by Maitre d' Rupesh, who we had last seen aboard the Silver Muse as a waiter in Atlantide, is now the maitre d' and manager of Indochine, and he did a wonderful job. Well done, Silversea, for recognizing talent when they see it. And based on our experiences of this trip, Indochine rises to a solid 4.6. Next up, we continue our exploration of Deck 4 with Seishin, the Japanese restaurant on board. Seishin is open for lunch, no reservation needed, and there is no upcharge for lunch. However, for dinner, there is a $40 per person upcharge. And while we did go to Seishin about 3 times for the lunch because the sushi was much better than what was served on the buffet, this time we did not indulge in the reservation required and $40 per head dinner. So this rating is for lunch only. Ambiance, we'll give it a 5. The tiny 24-seat restaurant is elegant in a Japanese style. Perceived cleanliness was very good. The lunch menu was good. It was mostly sushi and a couple of noodle bowls. We tried the noodles and they were sort of meh. But the sushi was very good. We'll rate the food at 3.5 because of the noodle bowls. Drinks and drink service were spot on and very good. The wait staff was excellent as always, and they were very consistent for what they did. Management seemed to be doing what they should have been doing, so we'll rate that a 5 as well. So overall, we'll rate it a 4.75. La Dame, also on Deck 4, is Silversea's French bistro-style restaurant. A reservation is required, gentlemen must wear a jacket, and there is a $60 per person upcharge. It is open only for dinner, and on this trip, we did not go to La Dame. If you want a current review on La Dame, just go to my dining and drink guide for our recent trip aboard the Silver Muse. Next up is La Terrazza, the breakfast and lunch buffet venue. That morphs into an a la carte Italian eatery in the evenings. It's a good place for breakfast with a wide choice. Lots of fruits for her and lots of meat for me. You can also order eggs your way. Here you see an egg white omelet with jalapenos, bacon, and avocado stuffed inside. And lunch features an even more expansive offering with a myriad of choices, including a pretty good selection of sushi featuring a good choice of nigiri and sashimi offerings, a full salad bar, cold cuts, wraps, and sandwiches, pasta salads and liver pate, a hot side with several selections that change daily, and a carving station that changed daily. They would also from time to time feature some local specialties like Scotch eggs and haggis when we were in the Scotland area. There's also a pasta station and a stir-fry station that you could check out and then order from one of the servers, and they would bring it right to your table. And although I tried the pasta once or twice, we did not try the stir-fry station. And of course, there was a wide selection of desserts. The pastry chefs would always offer up a few sugar-free and gluten-free desserts, and those were clearly labeled. But most selections, I'm sure, contained sugar, but interestingly, were never overly sweet. And occasionally you would see a little American flag signifying this was an American dessert, although I've never really heard of pecan cake. I did try the pecan cake, and it turned out to be the pastry chef's take on pecan pie. And every day they tried to have at least one warm offering, like a pudding, like this yummy bread pudding. So with all these choices, you got healthy for her, and maybe not quite so healthy for me. They would occasionally have specialty days for regional foods like our Scottish Day, a seafood extravaganza, or even Mexican, or my favorite, barbecue day. So how do we rate La Terrazza for the breakfast and lunch buffets? Well, the ambiance is quite good for a buffet. It's large, open, and airy, light and appealing, and on days that allow, it has a nice large outdoor area for al fresco dining. For perceived cleanliness and it being a buffet, I think it was quite good. I think Silversea could improve upon it a bit by not allowing passengers to serve themselves, as you have to pick up those tongs and you're reaching all over the place in some instances, and some people like to put the tongs back wherever. The menu was quite large and impressive for a buffet, and the execution of that menu, very good. Drinks and drink service was always good. Wait staff was stellar. Consistency was excellent, especially for a buffet situation. And management was everywhere and helpful. So we give them 5 stars. So overall, at least for me, a very respectable 4.4. But in the evening, La Terrazza changes over to a fine Italian dining experience. Reservations are required, but there is no upcharge for dining at La Terrazza Italian Eatery. And while the buffet capacity is around 204 passengers, in the evenings this capacity drops to reportedly around 70 passengers. And if you look to the left, you can see, if weather allows, they set up a few tables for al fresco dining. The menu changes about every 3 to 5 days, but not by much. But the menu is rather extensive, even though it doesn't change often, and you can come back several times and still be happy and try something different. And the last 2 pages are Italian-focused desserts. There is also an Italian-centric sort of wine selection, That changes evening to evening, but again, not by much. And if you are unhappy with their selections, you are welcome to select something else from the included list or spring for a more costly wine from their connoisseurs list. Every meal starts with a bread basket and this antipasto platter, and unless you tell them otherwise, they will bring it to the table unasked. For appetizers, I especially enjoyed this carpaccio, and for pasta, I particularly enjoyed this pappardelle with braised duck and a tomato ragu, and these pillowy soft gnocchi. Other standouts include these Italian grilled lamb chops, and at least for me, not so much for her, the ossobuco. But she was all happy again after she discovered the cassata siciliana, a sort of Italian fruitcake. And me, I enjoyed a tiramisu, and I outright stole the idea of using a fork and cocoa powder to create the decoration on the plate. Now, you may have perceived that we indeed did like La Terrazza as the Italian restaurant. Perhaps me a little more than Song. So how do we rate it? Well, for ambience, I'll give it a 4. It is the buffet after all, and they had that closed off, and the reduced size of the restaurant made it more convincing on the Silver Spirit that it was a separate venue than on the other Silversea ships that follow the same pattern. Perceived cleanliness was a solid 5. Menu choices I thought was 5 because it was Italian focused with good variety and a wide range of choices. Food-wise, I'm going to rate it a solid 4.5, and while I thought everything was just wonderful, Song did not like the execution of the ossobuco, something she was looking forward to. As she put it, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as she has had in the past. Drinks and drink service with their focus on Italian wines, I give it a 5. All of the included wines presented weren't exactly bangers, but to my unrefined palate, I thought they were pretty good. The waitstaff was its usual 5-star self. The food was very consistent, and management was excellent, with Luis, another acquaintance from past trips, promoted to maitre d' and manager. So my overall rating for the restaurant, a solid 4.8. So now it's time to look at Silver Note. Silver Note is all about modern tapas and cool jazz. It's the smoky jazz club, minus the smoke, of course, with a very interesting take on cuisine. Located aft on deck 8, Silver Note is dark and rich and gives the feeling of an intimate little jazz club. Reservations are required for Silver Note, but there is no additional upcharge. The menu in Silver Note is interesting to say the least, and it is a bit different than the other Silver Notes we have gone to on other Silversea ships. I was allowed to try the bread tonight because it looks so darn interesting. The cuisine of Silver Note is a bit quirky, and Silversea has dubbed it modern tapas. Here's an interesting one. It's called tuna in a can, which is tuna ceviche, citrus marinated lobster tail, and even the desserts are a bit quirky and interesting. But the food, while good, is not the only reason for coming to Silver Note. At some point in your evening, there are only 2 seatings. The pianist will be joined by a diva for a bit of soft jazz, sometimes leaning toward the blues. Well, how then should we rate Silver Note? Well, for ambience, it's a solid 5. The room is dark, small, intimate, and the perfect venue for a bit of supper and jazz. Perceived cleanliness is a solid 5, even though you won't see much when the lights go down. The menu, although extremely limited, is very interesting. The execution of that menu is pretty darn good. Drinks and drink service are consistent with the other venues aboard the ship, and that waitstaff was just as good as the waitstaff on the rest of the ship. Consistency, we went back several times, and each time it was just the same, so we have to say a solid 5 there. And management seemed to be interested in what was going on at all times, and took care of us, and the staff looked happy, so we'll rate them a 5 as well. And all that love for Silver Note tallies up to a solid 4.75. Up on deck and midships is the grill, and the evening venue, Hot Rocks. During lunch, the grill serves pretty much the standard pool grill sort of fare, and I include the menu here for your gratification since we did not eat at the grill for lunch during this trip. Check some of my past reviews on the ups and downs of the grill. But in the evening, the grill morphs into Hot Rocks, and we did go there several nights for this very interesting dining concept. Your evening will start with a wine list, of course, and then what appears to be a very limited menu. A few salads and appetizers, sides and limited desserts on the bottom, and the good stuff in the middle. They will bring out a mezzo plate for you featuring a few things like pita chips and a rather lackluster hummus. A better choice would be the spicy pasta, feta, and avocado salad. So what is the Hot Rocks concept and experience? Well, check out this chart and you can see that you cook it for yourself. It is cooked on a superheated lava stone right at your table by you. That lava stone is heated to a blistering 900 degrees Fahrenheit or about 450 degrees centigrade. If you undercook it, it's your fault. If you overcook it, it's your fault. If you incinerate it, it's all on you. However, if you are uncertain about what to do, the chefs will cook it for you when requested, and sometimes even the servers will help you out as well. And to fully enjoy the Hot Rocks experience, you should observe these particular caveats. You should not wear your formal clothes. You should wear the provided bib. And if you wear glasses, clean them after dinner because you won't be able to see where the heck you're going. But probably the most important thing of all is to just have fun. And while she started out with a nice big old hunk of grouper and a couple of monstrous prawns, I went right for the good stuff, a 16-ounce hunk of prime ribeye. On a different night, I had this monstrous veal chop. Now you can see by what's going on here why you need the bib and why you'll need to clean those glasses before you go anywhere. Well, how do I rate the grill, or Hot Rocks in this case? I rate it a 5-star for fun, 4 stars for ambience. It is around the pool, but at least at night there's no distractions. Perceived cleanliness was a 4. It is outdoors after all. The menu, for what it was, will rate a 5 because it's just perfect the way it is. The food will rate a 4. The starters were not too good, but the protein was excellent, and you have nobody to blame but yourself if it's overcooked or undercooked. Drinks and drink service was fine. The only thing that bugs me about the grill is the white wines and the rosés are usually served lukewarm. The bottles are in ice buckets, but it really doesn't cool them down the way they should. Waitstaff was excellent as always. Consistency was very good, and a lot of that depends on you. And management seemed to be just a little less present than they were in other places, so we'll rate that a 4. The overall score, 4.25. Just above the grill on deck 11 midship is Spaccanapoli. Spaccanapoli is the pizzeria. Here is the never-changing menu. However, it does change to whatever you wish because you can add, subtract, and change things around to your heart's content. The menu is very pizza-centric, of course, although we did stretch out and tried a calzone. We were happy to see on the Silver Spirit they were still serving the mezzo plate with sun-dried tomatoes, olives, and some Parmesan cheese. But really, it's all about the pizza. We always got the Diavola pizza, which is spicy salami, and then added some sausage to it. And one time we tried the calzone, and it was quite good. So, how do we rate Spaccanapoli? Well, ambience-wise, it's not great because it is outdoors above the pool and the pool grill, but we'll give it a 3. Perceived cleanliness was actually very good. Menu? Hey, it is what it is, and they do pizza right. Food? Excellent. Drinks and drink service, well, besides suffering from that deal where the whites and rosés are not very cold, it's good. The wait staff was excellent. Consistency was, well, consistent. And management, although we never saw anybody from management, the place ran itself very well. Overall score, if it wasn't for the ambience thing, it would have been a 5, or very close to it. Next up is the Arts Cafe, Deck 8 Aft. More of a coffee shop than a restaurant. I'm still going to list it with the restaurant venues because you can get a meal there almost any time of the day. It is also a full bar in the evening, although its primary purpose is coffee, tea, hot chocolate, infused waters for breakfast with breakfasty kind of wraps and fruit plates, muffins and the such. Then in the afternoon, it switches to a little bit different type of fruit plates, cheese plates, cookies, more coffee, these being chocolate-covered bananas, and chocolate-covered grapes, pineapple, and more chocolate-covered bananas, fruit plates. And in the evening, it switches to a bit more odd things. Case in point, guacamole with tuna and salmon roe, heart of palm and avocado, ham and cheese skewers with Thousand Island dressing, or maybe that's Thousand Island dressing. And it goes on. You could actually make a whole meal out of these little light bites. Song's afternoon favorite became this lemon pie and hot chocolate. Now after 9:30 in the evening, this becomes the place for chocoholics. Chocolate cones, chocolate tarts, opera cakes, lemon marshmallows, macaron, and the chocolate, dark chocolate bark and dark chocolate truffles, white chocolate truffles, and white chocolate bark. If you're a milk chocolate fan, no worries, it's there too. So how would I rate this restaurant that's not a restaurant? Ambience will rate highly because it is a neat place. Lots of artwork hanging, books on art, and the best coffee and hot chocolate crafted on the ship. Perceived cleanliness was very good and we'll rate it a 5. The menu was perfect for what it is. If you are in the mood for a nibble or a light bite, this is the place to come all day long. The food, we rate a 4. It was pretty good. Drinks and drink service were excellent, and it does have a full bar at night if you want something a little heavier than coffee. The wait staff was its usual excellent self, and consistency was high. It was the same each time we came back. Management was always present, and everything ran very well. So we're going to give the Arts Cafe a 4.9. Now the last dining venue we'll mention is in-suite dining or your own room. It is included, and there is a fairly extensive room service menu. Part of it on any given night comes from Atlantide, albeit a much reduced version of the Atlantide menu. Now, we ordered nothing from room service other than one time we had a caviar service. So honestly, we cannot rate room service one way or the other than say we saw several people using it and they seemed happy with that service. One of the inclusions for Silversea is bar service. Alcoholic beverages and specialty coffees, soft drinks are all included, and the inclusions encompass several different bottles of wine each and every day. Of course, you can always splurge and order off the connoisseur's wine list for an additional charge. Well, let's start with what I call the proper bars. In other words, bars where you can sit and converse with people, listen to music, or just enjoy yourself. And we'll start with Dolce Vita. Dolce Vita offers full bar service from 2 in the afternoon until late, and is considered more or less the living room of the bunch. It's big and seats well over 100 people. Bar staff there made up the perfect old-fashioned. Canopies are served in the evening, and there is always entertainment, either from the house pianist, in this case, Azulis, or the ship guitarist, Diego. The staff here was very friendly and accommodating and got to know what your drink preferences were, but always double-checking to see if that was really what you wanted. Here's one of those Midori margaritas, fluorescent in color and luscious in taste. Next up is the Panorama Lounge, Deck 9 Aft, which is on the Silver Spirit, a smallish venue where they occasionally had different entertainment in some of the parties. This is also where Song found her new favorite drink, a raspberry and rosé, a type of sangria. Well, regardless, there was plenty to explore on the menu, and a best effort was made to try as many as possible. There's also a large outdoor area, part of which on the port side has been usurped by the smokers, but overall, Panorama Lounge was a hit. There is a pool bar on Deck 10, and it turned out to be a great place to get different things like a BBC or a Bananas and Bailey Colada, or many other umbrella-style drinks minus the umbrella. There is a proper bar in the Silver Note. It only seats about 8 to 10 people, but after the 2 dinner services around 10:30, the whole thing opens up into a type of jazz club setting where the jazz duo performs until late. The observation library on Deck 11 forward has full bar service from 6 o'clock until 10 p.m. and is utilized for special events and parties throughout the voyage. It was also utilized much more as a bar than other observation library lounges that we have seen on other Silversea ships. Atlantide has a small bar seating 10 to 16 people and serves as an overflow or waiting area for the restaurant. Likewise, Indochine next door has a small bar area and is sort of underutilized. Now there are other drink service possibilities, one being the Connoisseur's Corner. It has bar service from 9 o'clock until late and features cigars and fine cognacs. It's here that if you want to get your Louis XIII on, you can go in, and at the last time I looked it up, it was about $120 some per half ounce. Yikes, pour me a double. But I'm also sure if you ask the bartender from the Panorama Lounge next door to go get you a half ounce of Louis XIII, he would. And although it is rarely utilized as such, the Arts Cafe has a full bar service on the Silver Spirit. Bar service itself, featuring alcoholic beverages, starts at 10 in the morning and goes until late. If you want to test the fates a bit, you can also wander into the casino and they will serve you up whatever your heart desires. Lastly, there is the in-suite option. You do get a welcome bottle of champagne, and they'll replenish that as many times as you like. There is a stocked minibar, and they will set it up and stock it with your preferences. And unless you order from the Connoisseur's Wine list or the Super Premium Liquor list, it's all included and will be replenished every day. So overall, what did we really think about our dining and drink experience aboard the Silver Spirit? Well, the Silver Spirit is an older ship, so we didn't really know what we would encounter. What we did encounter was a first-class executive chef, Chef Grant, who had a stellar team, and almost, I say almost, every meal was a good one. Drink-wise, well, actually it was a little easier on this voyage to find a decent wine that I didn't have to pay extra for, so I was pretty happy with that. Were there still some less than stellar wine selections there? Well, yeah. And you did have to try to sort through it a bit. You may taste a little bit of wine to get to the better stuff. And that's okay with me. That's part of the experience. And as they say, the adventure. One thing you might have noted is that we did not go to either one of the upcharge restaurants, Seishin or La Dame, this trip, with the quality of food in Indochine, Atlantide, La Terrazza, and Silver Note. We just didn't feel the need on this particular trip. And one last time, everything stated here is my opinion and my opinion only. We welcome your comments and critiques. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, and why. Well, that's it for our Silver Spirit Dining and Drink Guide. Thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to be kept up to date and notified of new videos when they arrive. Check out my much neglected website, tomsmultiinterest.com. And stay tuned for more as we explore the Silver Spirit with a ship and suite tour, eventually finishing up with the pros, cons, ups and downs of this particular voyage. Thanks again for watching, and as always, safe and happy travels from T's Cruise and Travel Muse.